Oh, no.
Um,
Yay.
oh, we're live
Yay.
now?
We're live.
Yeah, we are. We are live. Look.
Where are my
Look.
pants?
We're live. Don't know about the rest.
Forget your pants. Where's my shirt?
Aww.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tomb of the Terrible. I am your Uncle Necro, and tonight we're visiting everybody's favorite campgrounds that features everybody's favorite lovable slasher, Angela. Spoilers. We are talking about... Sorry about that, Del, but we are talking about Sleepaway Camp, but to be fair, this is a 1983 movie, so if you don't know that, that's not really the twist that got everybody's panties in a bunch, if you will. So tonight with me, we have Pyle, we have Del, we have Bill Pro saying hello to everybody, Friday in Chaos, and then Ran is, of course, with us.
Well, it's AH, so it's still Ron.
Ron?
Aww.
Ron.
Ran Duran.
So instead of
Exactly.
Ron, it's Ron. Like you just woke up.
Yeah.
Ron. Okay. So, if you're not familiar with Sleepaway Camp somehow, let me go ahead and read off what we got. Ricky and his introverted and shy cousin Angela, who has been living with Ricky and his whacked out mother since his father and brother were killed in a boating accident in the first reel. They are sent to a camp for the summer. It's Angela's first time there, and once she and Ricky arrive, she's immediately picked on left and right because she's introverted and shy because, damn kids. Despite all the unpleasantness, little Angie manages to fall in puppy love for the first time. Oh, and someone on the camp premises is on a killing spree, giving new meaning to the phrase disposable teens. Wackiness doth ensue, as well as one hell of a twist ending for 1983. So, show of hands, how many people have seen this for the first time?
Oh,
okay. So, really? Friday, this was your first time? I thought this was something you've seen before.
I honestly don't remember seeing it ever.
Really?
It seems like it's something I would have seen, but I don't remember it all.
Okay. Pyle, when was the first time you saw this?
probably about 10 years ago when I was first dating what is now my wife. and
Does she know?
I don't know. No, she has no idea because she looked at me and she goes, "We've watched it before, but I ain't watching that damn thing again."
I don't think that's what he meant, Pyle.
Okay.
Oh,
But you know she's your wife?
oh yeah. She claims me. She does.
Hmm.
She doesn't
Okay.
claim half the crap I do, but she claims me.
Fair enough. Chaos, this when was the first time you saw this?
As
He's
he fades out of
into the background.
existence.
He doesn't want to answer.
No, it's been a long time. I didn't even remember I've seen it before until I got about 10, 15 minutes into the movie and started recognizing what the hell I was watching.
Does
I
everybody have
honestly
him?
completely forgot that this movie existed.
Is this what this
until we
movie
went to
is?
watch it.
Wow. Is this what this movie is, where basically you watch it and then immediately your brain goes, nope, we're just going to wipe it all out. So it's really...
It's not
What the fuck
horrible.
is
It's
it going on with your glasses?
I have my issues with it.
So Lisa, left eye. Okay.
Yeah.
Pyle has something going on. All right.
Yeah.
So
I was wondering
Ron.
when somebody would say it.
Ron, when did you first see this?
Not too terribly long ago, probably within the last year to maybe 3 years tops. Since I work from home a couple of days a week, sometimes I'll put on movies in the background for some background noise while I'm working. And this one, I believe, was on Amazon Prime at the time that I watched it. And I only watched it because I remember it's one of those like cult classic type of movies. So I was just curious about it. But like you said, it's one of those movies where your brain shuts down and then you just can't remember anything about it because it doesn't leave a lasting impression. And that was kind of the case. I had a vague recollection that I believed that I had seen it, but it had been so long that I really couldn't remember anything about it until I watched it this time. But I already knew the twist of the movie, so I was trying to pay attention to like some of the other details to see if there was anything that I had missed from the first time. And to be honest with you, no, I don't think so. It still gave me the same impression that it did the first time I watched it.
Okay. Well, as for me, I was aware of this movie in the 80s because I kept seeing the videotape box for it displayed at the Applause Video in Fremont growing up, and then always in the Blockbuster Video. Whenever I got off work late at night and they were still open, I would grab a video to watch later. And just one night, I think it was like 1999, I just decided, what the heck? I'll give this one a watch. Because up until then, I'm thinking, I'm a fan of Friday the 13th. I am good. So I watched it, and I am surprised that, I do have to let everybody know that somehow, all of these years, I was never in on the big twist ending. That was the first time all I knew about was, it's a sleepaway camp. Somebody's killing everybody. It's corny, just a corny, schlocky, fun cult classic. Nobody told me about that twist ending, to which I went, okay, that makes sense. Especially when we get the flashbacks and how wacky that ant really is. But we'll get to that. So let's start off with what we what we liked about the movie. I can see Del looks like she's chuckling a bit. But we're starting with Pyle. So we'll start with you there. What did you like about the movie?
I liked the aspect that there was campers, and for some reason, all this murdering. No, there wasn't much to it. Sorry. Next.
Not much to like for you. Okay, fair
No.
enough. Okay.
I'm
Del?
a Jason fan, so
Okay. Del?
Yeah, there really wasn't much to like about it. I the crazy aunt was kind of funny, is like a great example of horrible acting, but little bit over the top. I think I've seen Jim Carrey be calmer before in delivering a role.
Okay.
The camp, I've only been to one camp, and it was for like a week, and we didn't really do much, and so I don't have experience with like what a summer camp would be like. But that place was a piece of shit. That was like just terrible. So, but that'll go into the things that I don't like. So I'll just say, yeah, there wasn't much that I cared for in this movie.
Okay. All right. Then, wow, this is going to be the shortest episode ever. Friday? Friday, we'll go with you next.
The
no.
jerk side.
the jerk
Okay.
side. Here.
Yeah, all the ones that were the biggest jerks. That they don't live.
Okay.
And that one guy at the beginning, the cook, he deserved it a whole lot.
Oh yeah. Very much so. So, was that all that you liked?
Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. All right, Chaos.
Probably the only real upside I can say about this movie is it did have one of my favorite styles, one of my favorite type of tropes in horror movies where they pretty much hide who the murderer is. You never actually see the murderer physically throughout most of the movie. So it's supposed to be a surprise. They just didn't execute it well.
Okay.
It's a good trope, just didn't execute it well.
All right. Well, Ron. All the good things.
I mostly concur with everybody else, but the one good thing I can actually say about it is that this was an honest effort to make an actual horror movie that was not cheesy or campy or schlocky. Of course, it was coming out around the same time that the original Friday the 13th movies were, so I think that just like a lot of movies do, they find a genre that's working at the time, and they will try to make a movie within that genre and hope that they hit pay dirt with it. In this case, I don't think it quite works as well as they might have hoped that it would, but I do believe they tried to put forth an honest effort to make this a legit, actual horror movie that just missed a few marks toward making it as good as something like Friday the 13th was, since it's basically the same kind of concept as Friday the 13th. And like Chaos said, you don't find out who the killer is till the end of the movie. But to go on from there would be getting into some of the negative things about it. So I think I'll just leave it with that and say that I thought that maybe I'll give them a B for effort, not necessarily an A, because there's a lot that they could improve upon. But I thought that this was legit, a good attempt at trying to make a good horror movie.
Okay. Well, as for me, first of all, dramatic glasses removal. We here at Tomb of the Terrible. I was Superman all along. But yeah, we here at Tomb of the Terrible, we appreciate everybody's opinions and thoughts on a movie, no matter how wrong they are. I have to say, guys, this is one of the greatest movies ever made. What movie did you guys watch? But I've seen this so many times since my first time. And I think it's also a case of the fact that maybe I'm a little bit of a wacko, and all the things that most people don't like about this movie, I love to death. Yes, it's dated. Yes, it's cheap. But you got to. I watched this, and even though it's really easy to guess who the killer is, the character of Angela, when she comes and when we meet her at the beginning of the film after the flashback, she's shy, she's awkward, she's me in 4-H camp, people. That's exactly how I experienced camp myself, being picked on by the alphas, and not really. Yes. Pink. Now, if they can just do that Jim Carrey in the mask thing, just boring. Anyway, but yeah, it's what I did like about this is, it's dated. It's hilariously dated. Like this 1983 was the time of year where teenage boys could wear cutoff T-shirts, expose their midriff, and still be considered, toxic masculinity there. But there were some things that really stick out on me, like saying words like, I got to take a wicked dump. And that whole thing with the younger boys where they do that trick where the guy's lying down, closes his eyes, and, they have him trick him into sitting up into the boy's ass. It's classic stuff. And throwing the kill with the beehive and the toilet stall. You can see where this movie's sensibilities lie.
Teenage boys are gross.
We are. We totally are. We don't get much better as adults. So,
No.
I cannot think of anybody who didn't stand up and cheer when that cook got his comeuppance. But right at the beginning, you can tell he was pretty much marked when he made that comment about the incoming kids. That ew.
Yeah.
So there is also one that always sticks with me. There's a scene where two lead owners, the old people, come together and start talking, and in the background, one of the camp counselors is just standing there lifting weights. Like, we need something in the background. Go lift weights. And okay, and then nobody points this out. Beautiful. So it's cheesy. It's a bad movie, but it's an endearing bad movie. And also, if you've watched parts 2 and parts 3, you can see why this is the greatest movie ever made. So I guess with that, we're only like a couple minutes short of 20 minutes. So hopefully this will really get things moving. Pyle, we are starting with the what we didn't like. And go.
So what I didn't like about it was absolutely the whole thought process of, hey, we're doing a camping movie. We're going to do the camping movie exactly how everybody has done the camping movie. We are going to go ahead and make it where one person is absolutely the target, and this target finds a way to go after everybody. But my absolutely favorite series is Friday the 13th. So I'm taking all that stuff and looking at it and going, oh my gosh, this was a movie that played off of that, which I know that we do watch movies that play off of other movies that take similar ideas and we go on with it. This just seemed like every single thing that was in a type of murder that has been already done. That was the one thing that I really didn't like. It just seemed like, oh, well, we'll take it from this movie or we'll take it from that movie. And I rather seen something that was, a little bit different in the aspect of, hey, this was done a little differently. I mean, the shower killing scene, cutting straight down the back. I've seen that one done before. And it might have not been a camping movie, but I've seen that one. And that is one of the things that some of these movies that ain't exactly like a streamlined movie, they go and they have a great idea, and it has a different twist on something that sometimes, most of the times, they can really pull something that no one has thought of in a different way. And I'm really glad that something like that is a possibility. This movie just absolutely was playing by the playbook that was given to them by their grandfathers that played the same exact game 30 years prior. I mean, they just, unfortunately, that was how this entire movie felt. I mean, you could see that there was going to be a murder here in the kitchen. You could see that there was going to be a murder in the shower. You've seen that there was going to be a murder that was dealing with the water. As soon as these people went into their areas, you knew exactly almost how that murder was going to be done, how it was going to be totally constructed. And, the key factors of the better part of this was trying to keep the mystery of who did it versus, the actual key factors of the people dying. And that's the negative part about this. That just, when I watched it years ago with April, that was one of the biggest things that me and her talked about, was just looking at the playbook from every camping movie you've seen. So, and then after this, she looked at me and she goes, there's a Sleepaway 2, right? Okay. I won't even get into the cover of that one, because it even shows some of the killing streak or killing equipment from other limestream movies. But this one, you could see everything coming. And I liked that. I like it when somebody gives it a twist of, oh, I didn't see that coming. The overacting on, you could tell who was going to be the one that was going to get killed, because the overacting, it seemed like their overacting would get higher and higher and higher as it went along to, hey, you're going to be the one that dies next because your overacting is coming out even more. So, yeah. I mean, that's how I read it or looked at this the first time and watched it again, and I was like, yep, nothing changed, did it?
All right, then we'll move on to Dell.
Okay, I guess there was something that wasn't horrible. That they did take some time to do kind of decent for the time effects about the people who were of the deaths, like the pulsing pustules, the guy who was burned, the snake. Right. I noticed this because I got a phone call and I had to pause it, and it was right where the drowned kid has a snake going across his face, and so I just had that for like 20 minutes in front of me, and it was like interesting. I think they were a bit overdone. The bees, I would have preferred wasps because they're more vicious, but like all of them were dead weird, except for the back one. That was just kind of like, that was a really smooth slice, but so that was something that wasn't absolutely terrible. But yeah, I just first of all, and maybe you guys can explain some of this to me, because some of this confused me. Wasn't the camp the same camp that they were at when the accident happened? Like they were watching across, like, oh, hey, can we ever go to that camp? Oh, maybe. But let's do this first. Oh, boating accident. Oh, your parents are dead. Your family's dead. Oh, let's go to the same camp. Because it seemed to me that it was the exact same camp. And you'd think that, somebody would be smarter than to do that. Let's send you to the place of the greatest trauma in your life and not let anybody know about it. So was I right on that?
Well, I think that all had to do with the fact that they were on a budget and, they couldn't really switch too many scenes or places to film. If Raz was here, he would be schooling us right now, and I missed that.
Probably.
So, yeah.
Okay. But there was that. There was the really weird relationship between the one camp counselor and the owner of the camp, who it's like, hey, you want to go on that date tonight? I'm 19 and you're 67. Yay! Like, she initiated it. So it's just kind of odd to me. I mean, some of those things. The one interesting thing that I learned while watching this was that Robert Earl Jones, who is the father of James Earl Jones and Matthew Earl Jones, as well as the grandfather of Flynn Earl Jones, apparently really like to keep Earl in their names. He's in the movie, by the way.
I wonder
Robert Earl Jones, that is.
I wonder if they listen to a lot of Steve Earle. I don't know.
I don't know. But he was, he was in the movie, and you go, I kind of recognize that guy. So that's why. I expected more when I saw an Earl Jones. And maybe they should have had him in it for longer, but I don't know. It was, I didn't enjoy the play out with all the cooks and how unhygienic their kitchen was. That was just gross. And I don't know, like, I guess I said, I'm not familiar enough with the camping activity things where, I mean, it just seemed really cheesy. Oh, you don't like doing things, so we're just going to fuck with you. And snotty bitchy girls. And seriously, they don't have anybody doing security after so many people keep dying to keep the kids from going out and doing stuff. I was wondering also if were parents pulling kids from the camp as things were going? Because they're like, how many kids are we down to now? And they're like, oh, we need to combine them into different bunks. Did that many people die that I missed out on? Or was it people were getting sucked out of the camp as well? Because I didn't think that like losing 4 or 5 people would make you like, oh God, I can't remember how many there were,
Possibly something, parents wanting to take their kids out. I don't know.
Okay. Well, that was just the things that confused me and the interesting things that I saw. That's my take on, and the ending was just like, yeah. Okay, a little bit. I did get caught off a little bit, but I was 99% right on both aspects of it. Like at the very beginning, I called it exactly right. And then through the rest of it, I was like, there's something just not quite right with what I thought, but I was right. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So,
and is that was there anything else you wanted to add there? Or?
Nope. That's pretty much it.
Cool. And apparently Ron wants to go next. People have switched.
I had nothing to do with that. I don't know why it switched.
Neither do I.
I did that. I want to hear what Ron has to say.
Oh, she wants me to go first before she goes. Okay.
All right. Well, Ron, take it away.
A lot of the things that Del said, I caught that as well with kids leaving the camp, but stuff like that can be attributed to like if one death, and then of course you get the cop there other kids are going to call their parents or write home about it, and the parents are going to show up and take them away from the camp. So yeah, it's possible that you could be losing kids from the camp. So I feel like that's a rational explanation why you keep losing kids, and some will still stay. So like things like that to me are very minor plot points, which they don't really affect the overall outcome of the movie. The issues that I have with it are more blatant, that while they don't necessarily show who the killer is throughout the movie, at the end, when you find out who the killer is and the twist, I suppose, then it makes a lot of things not make sense. For example, let's take the first incident with the pedophile cook in the kitchen when he gets scalded by the pot. That is the biggest damn pot of corn I have ever seen. If you know, when you require a step ladder to get to the top of the pot to stir your corn, perhaps you need to rethink your kitchen setup. But that's beside the point. The fact that now that we know who the killer is, when you look back on that scene, it makes no fucking sense whatsoever, because you have this giant burly man who handles this giant pot of corn who cannot overpower his assailant, who's just a little kid. And in this case, we'll go with Angela. Spoiler alert, I guess. Just a little kid. So you're telling me that this giant burly man can't overpower this little kid? Okay, now my question is, if he saw who the assailant was and he's on the step ladder, why didn't you step off of it? Why didn't you just get off the ladder? Why are you trying to brace yourself? That makes no sense to me whatsoever. But okay, I guess for the sake of the movie having to happen, then that's what's going to happen. I feel like all of the death scenes in this movie really could have been avoided if the people had been smart. The kid under the boat, well, his feet must have been touching bottom, or else he had to be treading water. If that was the case, when Angela popped up under the boat, it's like, oh, it's you. Why the hell didn't he just swim out from under the boat and just walk up onto shore, and could have completely avoided that whole situation? Maybe she would have killed him in a different location, but it doesn't matter. It was a completely avoidable situation. The scene with the shower, where it stabs through the shower curtain and then up. How does a 13-year-old girl have enough strength to cut through flesh and ribs and make a seamless cut like that without any jerking or jarring or tearing? A 13-year-old kid does not have that kind of strength, because that was surgical precision with that cut, and it just made no sense to me that could possibly happen with a young girl of that age who has no physical athletic ability whatsoever. And the bees in the bathroom stall, there was a gap under the door. Why didn't he just open the door or crawl out under the gap to try to get away from the bees? But no, he sat there while they were stinging him. When it was easily escapable just by opening the door and running out of the stall, but he didn't do that. And it also brings up the question of timing for these kills, making me wonder how Angela was able to get to all of these locations and kill all of these people and still be in another spot and carrying on a conversation. Like the kids that went camping out in the woods, they state specifically that they got there by car. How does she get out there to kill all those kids and then back to camp in order to kill the girl that was in the shower? So it throws off the whole timing of it. I didn't get it. Just it's little details like that which sort of throw it off for me. And I don't think that they did a very good job with laying out the clues on who the killer could possibly be. The only real clue that you have is that it's always the person who antagonizes Angela that dies next. So naturally, it would lead you to believe that it's Ricky, the cousin, and that's what the camp counselor was on to. So he had the right idea, just the wrong person. And so I feel like the twist was contrived and not very well, because they want you to think that maybe it's Ricky that's doing all of this killing, even though he doesn't even have the strength, because he can't stand up to all of the boys that are bullying Angela. He can't fight them. So he doesn't have the strength to do it. So why would Angela, when obviously Ricky's more athletic than her, and he can't even stand up to him? So how come she's able to? So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So trying to put that plot twist in at the end just feels very contrived, because they wanted some kind of a twist, not necessarily one that made sense. So there's a lot of things going on in this movie that when you really start to scrutinize them, it just completely falls apart and doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Okay.
Well, the reason he couldn't open the door was because there was a bar shoved through it, but crawling underneath the stall was absolutely possible. Yeah.
That's one of the things I was thinking. Why not roll underneath that? I mean, heck, a fat guy like me could have made it underneath that stall. You had a lot of gap there.
It was a broomstick.
Yeah.
He was a big enough guy. He could have easily busted that broomstick and busted it in half just by, pushing against that door really hard. It was just a broomstick.
But
it was a broomstick from the 80s. It's made better.
Yeah.
You guys, you got to understand, he really had to take a wicked dump. Then,
Yes,
I don't know if you've ever been in that position, but it takes it saps a lot of your strength, something like that. So, I mean, and Pyle, I believe you had something about a curling iron.
What's up with the curling iron? How did she kill her with the curling iron? It doesn't even show nothing. All she's seen was she grabbed a curling iron. I want to know how she killed her with that curling iron. I mean, and then she just takes the body and dumps it over and slides the bed back. I'm okay with that. But for me to be happy with this movie, I wanted to know how in the heck you killed somebody with the curling iron. Where did you shove it to get the hands to go like that? I mean, you had the pillow, you put it on the face. It wasn't smothering the person. It was quieting the person. Where did you shove the curling iron?
Well, and it was open, so it was clamped onto something.
I know. I want to know.
Curling iron went.
They didn't show that body.
Honestly, I want to know how they did the killing with the curling iron. That's the only thing about this movie. I was just like watching it, and I remember watching it the first time, and I got to that part, and I was like, this is how I thought the first round. How did you kill them with the curling iron? Where did you place this curling iron? Did you burn them in a wrong place, or
you can take your curling iron and shove it up your?
Anyway,
I'd be okay to know that this is how it was done. In other horror movies, they have done horrible and terrible things to people, and they have been like, "Oh well, we just took this rod and we just shoved it right through this person." Did you take the curling iron, open it up, and stick it in?
Well, this one time at Sleepaway camp.
That is right. That's the only thing that I did not really have any good idea, understanding, or anything. I mean, you kill somebody, you drown them. You kill somebody, you cut them up with an axe. You killed somebody, you knifed them. You killed somebody, you cut their head off. I mean, every single one I could understand except for the curling iron. Sorry.
Okay.
You said you wanted creativity.
Yeah.
That was the that was the creative one for you.
Before we proceed, I need to address an issue here. I need to address an issue here. Earlier, you may have heard something akin to a candy wrapper being unwrapped. It wasn't that. It was actually strawberry fruit snacks, my favorite. And this was to keep me from my diabetes from crashing. So there we go. I believe the candy talk was a previous episode that we did. But anyway, we're moving along to Friday. Tell us, what did you not like about this movie? Is there a curling iron?
So they made a playbook of all the ways you can die at a camp that they have seen in other movies. And they decided, you know what? Let's just follow this along with the other twists that I wasn't expecting that twist. I knew that it was going to be her, but I didn't expect the twist at the end. But it finally explains why the ant is so weird. The ant is overly weird. But the playbook thing, it feels like they did that with the list that everyone has given.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Except for the curling iron.
Yeah. Well, I've seen the curling iron
used
used before. And I've actually seen a curling iron used before as a killing device. And the less spoken about it, the better. So, Chaos, what did you not like about this movie?
Just the predictability of it. I mean, even the twist at the end is predictable if you paid enough attention at the very, very, very beginning when the family dies.
Mm-hmm.
Because the
So,
child is actually just floating there, in the water.
yeah.
Yeah, they only
Well,
got the back of the kid's head, but
mm-hmm. Well, I have to admit, as far as I go, yes, this movie is very, very predictable. It's very, very cheap looking. And there are more plot holes. Okay. What does that say?
Plug
Just say
it
out
in,
loud.
plug it in. Glade
And
plot
now
and plugins.
I'm imagining a clapper as a murder tool somehow. But
That would
going
be
back
good.
to what I was saying, going back to somebody get onto that. I would pay good money to see that. So, clapper coming at you. But no, this is in danger of going down, of squirreling out here. So I'll just say, what I didn't like about this movie is also what makes this one of my beloved classics that I love. Yes, it's cheap. Yes, it seems to have taken everything out of the cliche rule book, as Friday mentioned, and just kind of gone with that. Yes, there are plot holes that you can drive like several Mack trucks stacked on top of each other through. And my biggest question, I'm surprised nobody brought this up, was how did she remove the boy's head at the end? I mean, just heads right off. And from what I understand, she did it with her bare hands. So my theory, here is my theory. All camp-based slasher killers, if not all slasher killers, are endowed by some sort of spiritual entity, a patron saint, or God, if you will, of slasher killers, that endows them with unbelievable strength and agility to be able to rip people's heads off with their bare hands, even though they're 13, cut through everything with the magic knife. It, no matter what knife that they pick up, it'll be endowed with the ability to slice through like Wolverine's claws through butter, and the ability to make it on foot from one place to another that you would normally need to drive in a car to get to, and also breathe underwater. So that's just my inner head canon thing working overtime. So it's just it's all of that. And mind you, I am as far as slashers go, the big three will always be the top tier for myself and everybody. Friday the 13th, Halloween, the Nightmare on Elm Street series, bar none. And you can even make room for the Hellraiser series, but that's kind of in a different category altogether. There are, however, there's an entire, like, especially in the very early 80s and the last part of the 70s, the early 80s, where there was just a glut of really cheaply made slasher movies that came out, that if you explore it, it is mind-boggling how many of these came out. And for a turd like Sleepaway Camp to rise to the top, like much like the cream of the crop, is the fact that I've seen so many of these. And I remember Sleepaway Camp specifically out of everything. No, it's not top tier. It's barely B tier, but it's it's all the bad stuff that makes it good for me. I don't know how else to put this, but yeah, it's one of those things we're just going to have to agree to disagree. But I understand where everybody's coming from, and let's see. There is a bit of well, Del, did you want to address what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Okay.
I kind of figured it out as I was writing the question out. But there is a scene where the boy goes to kiss Angela and like starts trying to unbutton the blouse and no and runs away. And then there's this like cut off flashback scene, that alternates between two of them, and it's little Angela and the little girl sitting in bed, and the boy keeps slowly reaching out like he's going to poke her. And then it jumps back to the two of them sitting and giggling while they're watching their dad and his male companion in bed together. And they like giggle and then giggle. And I was trying to figure out, like, at first I was like, oh, she just, doesn't want to be touched because of this. And it reminded her of this. And then like looking back on it now, it's like, okay, was it just because like that brought forth memories of like, oh, my dad was gay, and now if I kiss you, that makes me gay or something. It was just a very strange time it was just a very strange thing to have thrown in there, because it wasn't necessarily the best time for gay people in the 80s.
Right.
It was a little rough right there. So, but they didn't play it off bad, but it was just kind of, what is this here for? And unless it was just to be like, am I like my father or something? Maybe I'm just like but yeah, so I didn't know if that was like, it's one of those in retrospect kind of things.
Del, I think that scene is there because it explains why Angela may have been attracted to the boy to begin with, because once you find out the plot twist, it kind of makes that make more sense. When you find out that, all right, so elephant in the room, Angela's a boy because the aunt was weird. And I don't have any idea for that backstory of why the aunt was the way that she was. And it's very loosely explained. But I think we're forgetting the bigger picture here. is Angela is traumatized from the events happening at the beginning of the movie, goes all this time without speaking a single word, and then it's one boy that shows her attention, that treats her with some bit of respect, that causes her to speak up, and nobody's like, oh my God, she spoke. Like, this is great. Maybe now we can, start communicating. No, they doubled down, and now that she's speaking on a regular basis, they just get even more nasty toward her. And so I think she likes this boy, even though she's supposed to identify as female. And I think that they threw that in there with the two men, being romantic with each other to sort of explain why she would be interested in this boy, because she's a boy. So, I mean, I always thought that scene felt kind of off until they show the twist, and then it sort of starts to make sense. But it's one of those things where, we have to explain this. Okay, well, let's retcon it and make this a reason. So it feels like a scene they shot after they were done shooting the movie, and then they have to insert it into the movie after the fact in order for it to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And
it may be
stuff like that,
because that particular flashback did seem to come out of left field.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, Del?
And then one other thing, as far as, here's the catch ending, but then it just stops, and changes the colors. So it was like, well, I would have liked a little bit more follow-up than that, like at least somebody getting a blanket wrapped around them and walked. Well, I guess there was nobody to do that too, because he didn't have a head, but some sort of wrap up beyond just dun dun dun, and it's over.
Well, my thought when I saw that, my immediate thought was, I wonder if the maker of this movie tried to sue the makers of the Crying Game, because they clearly were lifting from this.
I thought the Crying Game came later.
Yeah, that's why they were trying to sue him, I thought. Yeah.
I thought that the ending was not handled as well as it could be. They give the twist when you find out that Angela is a boy. The person they got to do that scene at the end, the whole body type does not even match Angela to begin with. Like some scrawny person with a very shoddy mask that with the whole face stuck in that big open mouth kind of thing. Just put a bad mask on a person who's willing to stand there completely naked, that's completely scrawny and doesn't match Angela's body type whatsoever. But more so, that's not, a full frontal shot like that is not something, I mean, they probably could have faked it in some way, but a full frontal shot like that was something that was unheard of in movies at that time. You just didn't see it. You might see tits, you might see ass, but you never see a full frontal of a guy. And, even so, in this day and age, you still don't see it all that much unless you're watching like HBO and, late night movies and stuff like that. But it's still not very common to see male full frontal nudity. And the shot is so bad, it's so grainy that you can't really even tell if that's what you're seeing or if it was, faked it, if, prosthetic or a mannequin or whatever. I don't know, because it's such a bad shot. But, for that kind of twist, something like that was unheard of at that time. And I think that's probably the reason why this movie was memorable as it was, just because of that particular ending. And the rest of the movie sucks, but, the ending leaves a lasting impression.
Which they, well, Natasha, you wouldn't be the first one. Myself, so better late than never.
We were watching Sleepaway Camp, Natasha.
Yeah, Sleepaway Camp. Yeah. Anyway, I was going to say, Ron, are you familiar with the Righteous Gemstones?
Doesn't sound familiar.
It's an HBO series that features a lot of surprise wang. Lots of surprise wang. Especially since the show is about a family of who own a super church, if you will.
And how recent is this show, The Righteous Gemstones? When did it come out?
A few years ago. It's currently.
See, that's the thing. It's more current when premium services and people can kind of put what they want now behind a paywall and whatnot, and actors are more willing to do that. But back in those days, it was unheard of. 1983.
Oh yeah,
no, come on, nobody did that.
What I was getting at. That's what I was getting at. But if you're into surprise wang, yeah, go ahead and watch that show. And
I would jump right on that wang.
Yeah, right on that wang. So anyway, tonight's episode is brought to you by Wang. Anyway,
everybody wang tonight.
Oh, we're going to hell. So we're going to go ahead and do our recommendation / rating, and it's out of 10. And whether or not we would recommend this flick to other people, we'll start with Pyle, who somehow is also commenting elsewhere.
I know, right? It's like a magic show.
What a twist.
So would I recommend this? I would absolutely recommend it because every single person has a different outlook on the movies, and maybe they can figure out themselves how in the hell you kill somebody with a freaking crucifier. But I would recommend it because it is an opportunity that every single person has a chance to just go and experience a movie themselves, come to a different conclusion. And you never have to agree with what we say on here because, apparently 5 stars do exist on movies.
Yeah. So out of 10 though?
Oh,
what do you give it?
Out of 10, surprisingly, it's better than one movie that got a 1. So we're going to do the toilet paper 3 out of 10.
Okay. So, all right, Del, what did you give this, and would you recommend it?
I would recommend it to a very specific group of people, most of which are in here with me right now. So, not too many people I think that I hang out with would like it. They just kind of be like, fun, nah. But I will also, I'll give it a 3 out of 10. I didn't absolutely hate it. Like I have really hated some movies, and because even though I gave Troll 2 and Prey a 0, and you can't really get any lower than that. This isn't even like a 1. This is so much better than those that it'll get a 3.
Okay. All right.
So,
Ron?
I still don't like this movie as much as House of the Dead, which I gave a 5. I think a 3 is fair. I'm trying to determine whether or not I think it's deserving of a 4, but I'm having a real hard time thinking of why I would give it a 4. So I'm probably going to have to concur with a 3 for that. As far as recommending it, I think that this movie would, if you're going to recommend it, this movie would best be served by holding a Misty 3K party and invite a bunch of friends, come over, get your popcorn and your snacks and your drinks and all of that, and then just Misty 3K the fuck out of this movie. And that's the only way I would recommend it.
Okay. Friday?
Well, I gave it a score that most people aren't going to agree with.
Okay.
And the reason I gave it that score is I've watched a whole lot of horrible movies lately. A whole lot of horrible movies. In comparison, it's a movie where you can see they put a whole lot of time into making a rule book. And they tried, even though horribly, they did make a movie that matched the rule book. And the effects weren't as horrible as you would expect from a movie at the time. So I give it a 7 for being better than a lot of others I've watched.
Okay. Would you recommend it?
So I have this Tomb of the Terrible group that you probably noticed I made you admin as well. And I put all of the stuff there. So yes, I invite everybody to go find the link and be a part of our Tomb of the Terrible Facebook group and come enjoy all the bad and terrible and just talk with us. Please. That's where I put all the links to the movies.
Okay. Wow. So, Chaos, what say you?
I generally have to give it probably about 5 for the fact that, yes, it's not the worst movie we've watched or that I've seen by far. 2, they did put some effort in it. And 3, it had one of my more favorite tropes when it comes to horror movies, where they pretty much try and hide the murderer through the entirety of the film.
Okay. Do you recommend others to watch this? Would you?
Oddly enough, yes.
Hmm.
Because, as I said, it's not the worst one I've seen. And yeah, it's
Okay.
not bad in comparison to some of the others.
Okay. Well, as far as I go, and this may surprise a lot of people considering how much love I was slathering this on here, much like boiling hot water on a pervert. I would give this a 6. Now, I'm doing this in general, comparing it basically as far as a slasher movie goes, compared to, say, the classics out there. This would rank a 6. However, if we were ranking this against the 5 sequels to this, there are 5, 6 altogether. This would definitely be a 9 compared to those, especially the first 2 sequels after this, where they, instead of, oh no, usually we just do the first one and then we show mercy by not, oh dear. Okay, I guess I was too distracted by one of the other movies that is my absolute favorite bad movie, but yeah, we'll get to that in this in the near future. But would I recommend it all the time, especially to those who are like, Friday the 13th is so stupid, it's so predictable. I'm like, have I got a movie for you? You'll be seeing that and various other popular franchises in a way different light after watching the first Sleepaway Camp altogether. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pay some bills. And when we get back, we are going to read some 5-star reviews, and then spin the updated Wheel of the Terrible for everybody. See where we're going to be tortured, but go ahead and roll the thing. We'll be right back.
Greetings and shabebans. We are the Retro Reductibus Cephala Podcast, a long-form bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
Well, that sounds good, but I don't know what all those words mean.
I think what Parasite Steve's trying to say is that on Retro Reductibus, we explore a range of retro goodness, from toys, video games, and movies, to cartoons, and even snacks and school lunches.
Oh.
And we do it all with a positive spin, a slew of killer guests, and some very adult language.
And you know what else is cool?
No.
This crazy show is part of the Door King Podcast Network with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
What's that?
And if waiting 2 weeks for a new episode gives you a sad, know that we drop bonus episodes all the time, like the off-format Crow's Nest and an interview series we call The Brig.
You can listen to Retro Reductibus on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any app that's cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all the things that make growing up awesome.
Welcome back. And while we were on break, I went ahead and grabbed one of my old curling irons from back when I was a teenager. And yes, I tried it, and yes, that would make for a very uncomfortable killing mechanism. Moving along to the 5-star reviews. Try to get that mental picture out of your head. You're welcome. So we're going to start with. We're starting off with Emily Milligan, who says, one of the best classic slasher flicks, filled with the chills and thrills. Great acting by the young cast. It is a believable element that the young actors actually are about the age of the characters they portray, unlike so many other camp films. Okay, well, and then Sam, just Sam, writes, a must-see for anyone who missed it. This movie is what it is, an early cash-in attempt on the camp slasher genre, better than most, as it starred actual kids playing the kids. That is a good point. I mean, they didn't seem like 20 or 30-something teenagers that we seem to get a lot. But I bought it so my wife, who was raised in another country, could see what I was talking about. We enjoyed it, but not likely to rewatch it many times. Then Eric M. Baker says, 80s classic slasher flick. First off, this is not directly a Friday the 13th ripoff. Yes, they share the same setting, but that really is where the comparison ends. This movie is more cerebral than Friday. What? So, Friday is one thing and Sleepaway is another. So just go into the movie understanding that. So, and we'll end on this one on time. Just says Amazon customer. And the review is, it's in great condition.
What?
So I'm guessing they're talking about the DVD that they bought. I don't know.
No,
Yep.
they were talking about the curling iron. It was in great condition.
So was mine. You don't want to know what I just curled. But in any case, I loved the movie, but I'm also not delusional. So, moving along, let's go ahead and give that Wheel of the Terrible a spin. And Dell has filled it up with some new ones because we ran out of the ones we had the past couple of seasons.
Yes.
So,
and I haven't overfilled it because we just made a snap decision that based upon all of the ridiculous Amityville spinoffs that there have been made, that come fall season, we're going to do an entire season of just really bad Amityville ripoffs. So I'd had one on the wheel, so I took it off. So I have an uneven number on there, but that's because you are going to get spoiled rotten this fall, like
and
a pumpkin.
Just to curtail all the emails, I wasn't the one who helped make the decision here, so it's Dell's.
Yeah. It's fine.
Dell.
Totally.
So,
all right.
Anyway, what do we got? Is that seriously the name of the movie? Bad CGI sharks.
Yes, I don't know what cast and crew user review is, but we'll just hope we don't land on that one.
Okay. Ooh, Rock and Roll Nightmare.
I saw Cannibal, a musical in there somewhere.
Yes.
Oh.
Come on.
It's going to be, Sleepaway 2, Unhappy Campers. Okay.
What? Seriously?
Really?
I guess I copied it off of IMDB, so pulled that up. So seriously, we get Sleepaway 2.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God.
We will find out where the curling iron goes.
No, you won't.
That was perfect.
Suddenly, I feel like I'm sick next Monday.
Yeah.
You will watch it and you will like it.
Okay. Well. So.
It's back.
Okay. So next week, despite popular demand, we are watching Sleepaway Camp 2. Try wear a cup and get some help.
We need help.